I'm so happy to be here, yes, on a Tuesday morning. Great to have you here. Please say hello and where you're from. And if you're here for the first time, give us a shout out. Make sure you hit that follow button and you are subscribed. Okay, we have a great show lined up today. A lot of really popular topics that we get a lot of questions about. So let's start off with hypertension and keeping our arteries healthy. Yes, we will be talking about how to naturally lower your blood pressure, as well as some of the nasty things. So we're going to be focusing in on this silicone dioxide, nasty things found in your supplements, in your vitamins, why you want to avoid them. And we'll be touching a little bit on this subject, if you know what I mean. So helping with that clean microbiome and doing a microbiome cleanse, how we do that and how we get rid of these bad guys in the gut. So I'm super excited. Please say hello. It's great to have you here. Mayflower, hello. You are in Italy. Great to have you here, as well as Elaine. Good morning. Aura, hello in Switzerland, as well as Vic in Spain. Vinci in Lubeck. Hello. I've been there actually. I love Lubeck. I have family there. So nice to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. It's great to be here. Italo Zavarella, thank you. It's great to have you here again in the house. TK in Turkey, hello. Sanche in, I believe it was Philippines, and Sam in Nebraska. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, we've got people from all over the world. Luby in Toronto, great to have you here. GH Jew, hello. Nice to have you here, as well as my Vinci, hello. Great to have you here. Loa, nice to have you here as well in Frankfurt. Hello. Guten Morgen, I guess. Great to have you here. Okay, thank you for tuning in. Dawn is here. Godfather, Magdalena, hello. Amelia as well in St. Catharines. Eva, nice to have you here. Thanks for tuning in. Eva has been following for a very long time. Athena in Aruba, thanks for tuning in as well. So let's get started, all right? Now, if you missed last show, you can always check it out where you can watch a longer form video. Last time we talked about diabetes, A1C levels. We also made our own natural laundry detergent. And I'm curious how many of you were able to mix up your own laundry detergent based on my recipe. We also made a natural bug spray, which is super important this time of year. We talked about leg and vein health and our circulation. And we also talked about some of my daily supplements, some of the things that I like to take daily, sort of my standards. And then of course it's variable depending on the season and what's going on with my energy levels usually and my stress. But no, I don't have stress, do I? No, nobody has stress, do we? Yes, we all do, and it's how we deal with it that makes all the difference in the world. Okay, I do want to talk about some of these nasty guys that can be in our gut microbiome, parasites, candida. I'm going to go through my 8 tips how to get rid of parasites and candida, and this is something that is really important. They're doing a lot of research now into some of the correlations between some of these bad organisms, less favorable organisms. Let me just show you a few, like the roundworms. Hey, if you are living anywhere in the world, you can be prone to parasites. And it's not one of those things that, we used to think if you travel and, you're going to be more at risk if you go to different places, different foods and water supply. Well, the truth is, right here in North America, in Canada, where I live, we're all prone to parasites. If you have pets, if you don't have pets, if you do gardening, if you don't do gardening, if you eat raw, fresh fruits and vegetables, you're prone to picking up some of these bad guys, okay? The tapeworm, definitely if you're a meat eater, if you love your sushi, you can be picking up these things. Flukes, very common as well. And a lot of these correlations now are being made with having these unfavorable organisms in the gut with some big serious diseases out there, the ones that we try to prevent. So this becomes very important in terms of, cleaning up that microbiome. And I like to do it periodically. We're going to get into my protocol specifically, how I like to do that, because I get a lot of questions. Candida is a big one as well. It makes you crave a lot of sugar, causes a lot of gas and bloating and weight gain for a lot of people, disrupts the hormones, and there's a lot of symptoms, of course, that go along with candida, which I do have a lot of content on if you want to learn more. This is like the super scary one. I mean, give me a thumbs up if you think this is scary, or give me like the emoji, the scary bad emojis. Here we go. Yeah, this one, the hookworm. Why is it called that? Well, look at the fangs. So basically, it can hook onto. First, it gets into the lungs. Typically, it comes through the skin, and then it can hook onto the intestinal wall as well. And you can have these guys for years. I had, one patient who had hookworm manifestation from working on a farm when she was younger, and she believes that she had the problem for like 20 years until she finally met me. And of course, we did a whole protocol, which I'm going to share with you in just a second, how to get rid of this. And then finally, she's like, "Oh my goodness, doctor, finally, all my symptoms have dissipated," and she felt so much better. So that is the power of cleaning up that microbiome, getting rid of these bad guys. Okay, how do we do it? Let's go through some of my tips. I've got 8 of them, how to get rid of these bad guys. Okay, number 1. Decrease your exposure. Okay, so what does that mean? That means being very cognizant of, places where you may be more prone to picking up parasites. So if you eat meat, making sure that you are sanitizing very well your surfaces, your hands, making sure that it's properly cooked. This is where sushi becomes an issue, because if it's not properly prepared, like in the traditional Japanese cuisine, then you become more vulnerable. And I find that that's very common, at least here in North America, to pick up parasites from eating a lot of sushi. So just to be aware. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to, if you have to stop eating your sushi completely, but just doing some regular parasite cleansing might be, in your best interest if you still want to continue to eat that. Okay, so decreasing your exposure. So yeah, just being aware of that. I've got videos on where you pick up these things, so you can check that out very specifically. If you're a gardener, that's another, big area to pick up parasites. If you have pets as well, you just have to be really, diligent in how your body is interacting with your environment. Okay, number 2 is to eat in a relaxed setting and eating outside. So what this does is it actually programs your own healthy microbiome. So of course we have good guys, our probiotics in our gut, and they help with digestion, help to fend off some of these bad guys. So by eating outside, eating in a relaxed setting, you're actually secreting your own digestive enzymes to properly break down your food and to actually kill off some of your enzymes, and your stomach acid are designed to kill off parasites as soon as you ingest them. But if we have poor digestion, then this is often a problem, and that's how, these bad guys can sort of take over. So this becomes important, eating in a relaxed setting and doing your best to eat outside, connecting with nature. Okay, number 3 is to try my favorite herbal medicines. Now, this is what I call Cabo. So if you've been here before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, okay, I see some of the scary face emojis, Mimi and Tracy. I see that Susanna as well. Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, Life by Cynthia. You eat vegan sushi. Probably a better idea when we're talking about, maybe picking up those parasites. All right. So cloves, artemisia, black walnuts, and oregano. The acronym is CABO, C-A-B-O. My favorite herbal medicines that really do help to kill off not only the adult worms, but also their babies and the eggs, the larvae, and helps to decrease that attachment. Remember that hookworm can attach to the intestinal wall, so it helps to decrease that attachment to the intestines. All right, as well as, let's go back to my list, taking fiber. So fiber can be really, really helpful at sort of trapping. So when you're using the Cabo as part of the protocol to get rid of those bad guys and kill off, the live actual, not so great organisms, the parasites, candida, what the fiber does is it traps what you've killed now and moves it out of the intestinal tract. So that becomes really important. One of the types of fiber that I love, and I actually take it in an encapsulated form, is psyllium seed husk. And this is important because psyllium seed husk works like little brushes on the intestinal wall, and then helps, if anything, like the hookworm was sort of attached, will help to dislodge that. And after you've killed it, of course, with the Cabo, with those herbal medicines, and move it out through the digestive tract, all right? So that's really important. Another one is number 5, is to follow it up with a full body detox. Here's the thing. So when we talk about some of these organisms, they actually, as they're living, but also as you're killing them off, they give off their own toxins. For example, candida. So if you've ever done a candida cleanse and you've heard about this, or people that you've talked to that have done a candida cleanse and they just felt really unwell as part of doing that detox or that protocol, that candida can give off 60, that have been documented, over 60 different toxins as you're killing it. So this is something that you definitely want to help to support your internal organs, so your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, with other herbal medicines. And this is how I devised this protocol, was to help my patients to really help with that detoxification protocol with some other herbal medicines to support the body and the detox of all those toxins that went along with, killing off those parasites. So that's the magic in doing this the proper way, so that you don't have what's called the Herxheimer reaction, which is the headaches, the diarrhea, and all of, just feeling really nauseous and sick from doing the parasite cleanse. You don't, because your body has now become overwhelmed with all of those toxins. You've got to support the organs to be able to deal with that toxic load. And this is the combination that I prefer in terms of that full body detox. I've got other videos on that, so you can learn more about my full body detox. But I will talk specifically on how we actually do this week to week with taking the parasite cleansing herbs and the detoxing herbs. That's coming up in a second. Okay, another one, number 6, is to put the good guys back in. So taking the right type of probiotic, very, very important. As well as number 7, we actually want to repair those tight junctions in the gut. Now, if you've heard of leaky gut syndrome, where those tight junctions in the gut can actually open up and allow for things to pass through that shouldn't be, and this can lead to autoimmunity, we want to use something like a functional protein powder that's not just your whey protein and a whey protein isolate, which is easier on your system compared to a concentrate, but that functional protein has other nutrients, things like selenium, which will help to bind up and actually seal up those tight junctions in the gut, all right? And number 8, this is important, the mind-body connection. So what I found in my practice over the years is that if you have a certain personality type that allows others to sort of maybe take advantage of you, that's exactly what a parasite does. So just think about that. It's just food for thought, planting that seeds that I want you to think about this, because if you do have chronic issues with your microbiome and with your gut, that if you tend to have that type of personality where people take advantage and it's all for them to gain and you're not really gaining much from that type of relationship, that's very similar to the way that parasites can manifest in your body and they don't let go. So once you make that mind-body connection with your microbiome and sort of start saying no, and then that can really change things for, what's going on with your gut. Okay, so who's with me here? Making those connections is a good thing. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you for all the love coming in. I see all those hearts coming in. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Lady Steel, I know it is interesting, but it is so important. All right, so when we talk about now, I will be sharing some tips for acid reflux. So that is coming up in just a second. But first, let me talk about specifically my parasite cleansing protocol. So you heard me talk about those herbal medicines, the Cabo. So with the cloves, the artemisia, those are the parasite cleansing herbs. All right, so here we go. With your week 1 and 2. So that's what I like you to start with. So you're gonna go strong. You're gonna have that kill phase. You're gonna use the Cabo in the first 2 weeks at a good dose. It's a high enough dose to kill off those bad guys. We want to be a little bit aggressive here, but without it being hard on you. And that's why, the protocol that I use is just the right formulation to be able to do what it needs to do, but you're not gonna have that type of reaction like a lot of other cleanses and detoxes. Very, very gentle on you, but harsh on those bad organisms. We've got to clean up that microbiome. All right, so that's what you're starting with the first couple of weeks. We are also supporting your system with maybe that functional protein, some, probiotics as well, putting the good guys back in, that fiber, of course, very important as you're starting this protocol. Now, when we go to week 3 and 4, this is where, again, we are doing the full body detox. So remember, we have to support the body as it's killing off these bad guys and all the toxins that these less favorable organisms and the parasites are giving off. We want to support our internal organs with that full body detox, all right? So that's a different set of herbal medicines. This is your week 3 and 4. Then basically what you do is you go back to the parasite cleansing protocol. There is a little window of opportunity. So you're taking a bit of a break, a 2-week break, before you go back again to killing off the bad guys. And there's a reason for that. We know that parasites have a certain life cycle. And so we give a bit of that break. We're supporting the organs with detoxing, then we come back and whammo, we hit them again with the Cabo in week 5 and 6. And this is where we continue with supporting the organs at this time with your full body detox herbal medicines. And then you can continue on depending on, how you're feeling at that point. And this is where, I would talk to my patients and say, hey, how's it going? Do we need to continue? For most people, I like to do this once per quarter. So 4 times per year, you go through this protocol just to clean house. And it's really, really important for your digestion, for your moods, for your hormones, for, gut health in general. If you have a lot of gas and bloating, if you have a lot of, maybe autoimmunity and leaky gut issues, this is something the cornerstone is cleaning up that microbiome and dealing with that first before you're sort of dealing with some of the extraneous symptoms that are happening. It's all about the root and the tree. All right, thank you. Okay, nice to see you. Okay, Vinci0206, I know exactly who you are. Thank you for tuning in. It's great to have you here. Guten Tag, and yeah, thanks for being here. All right, so let's continue now with, I want to announce last week's winner. Now, don't forget that this is a very interactive show. We're going to have some quiz questions coming up. So please pay attention to some of, the information that I'm sharing today. This week, we're actually playing for the turmeric from our great sponsors at VitaTree Nutritionals Whole Food Vitamins. All right. So we thank them for supporting the show and being the sponsor of the show. And of course, during the show, what we do is I'm going to ask you a question. So you're just going to answer in, of course, the comment section, and yeah, do your best and you can win the prize. And I will be announcing last week's winner in just a moment. All right, are we ready? All right, so we're playing for the turmeric today. Is everybody ready for the first quiz question? You're going to have 30 seconds on the clock, all right, to answer the question. Here we go. First question. Quiz question number 1. Name a herbal medicine that is helpful for killing bad organisms in the gut. All right, let's see who was paying attention. Good luck, everyone. All right, how are we doing? And we've got 5 seconds left. Let's see, how's everybody doing? All right. Good job. I see lots of good answers. Thank you, Canwell in Australia, for tuning in today. Good answers here. Life by Cynthia, Stacy, Cecil, Grizzly Bear, Louise, Sunflower, Tony. Great to have you here. Good job. Music. Oh, Addict got all 4 of Cabo. Yes, so let's reveal, of course, it is Cabo. So if anybody said cloves, artemisia, black walnut, oregano, you are correct, and you may be the lucky winner of our prize. Okay, we have more quiz questions coming up, so don't go anywhere. But let me announce last time's winner. So when we were here a couple of weeks ago for the live show, Cookie0765 was our winner of the Veins and Circulation Formula. Congratulations to you, Cookie0765. Amazing job. All right, so that will be sent out to you. Please make sure that you are following at Team Dr. J9 so that we can follow you and actually find your contact information and your address so we can send you the prize, okay? And make sure you're following me, of course, so that we can always reach you to get your details and we can reach you if you're a lucky winner. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about dandruff. So I know a lot of people suffer with itchy and dry scalp, whether it's been diagnosed or not, but there's often a common organism that actually causes this. And it's a type of fungus, and it's from the family of Pityrosporum. And here we can see, whether it's seborrheic dermatitis, dandruff, here we can see that family of fungus actually is breeding that yeast on and near the scalp surface, okay? So here's a big tip. Never, ever go to bed with damp or wet hair. All right, you have to dry your scalp before going to bed by not fully drying your hair before bed. So please, 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 and this can be during the day as well. If you don't fully dry your scalp, that's why I'm a big proponent of actually using a hair dryer. Use some heat, go out in the sun, use the heat, do whatever you need to do to get your scalp as dry as possible, especially if you suffer with dandruff and a dry, flaky scalp. Okay, that is going to be a big tip. But you can also mix something up, which I love, and I'm going to share this recipe with you. So this is something that I discovered. It works amazing. Will help to clear this up so much more quickly. And that is to use a mixture of castor oil and lemongrass essential oil. So if you've ever smelled lemongrass essential oil, it smells just like lemons. It is amazing, but has the ability to be antifungal on the scalp. So you're gonna mix 10 drops of that lemongrass essential oil in about 2 tablespoons of castor oil. Now castor oil, if you've put it on your scalp for hair growth before, you know that it is quite sticky. So that's why I want you to put this on your scalp at bedtime, and then you can wrap in a towel or whatever, and then in the morning you're going to shampoo this out, and then your hair, it has like a little bit of a lemony scent in the morning. It is amazing. Often you just need to do it once and then it clears it up, and then in the meantime you're going to maintain by, of course, making sure that your scalp is always dry, using your blow dryer to dry your hair. But this is amazing for that dandruff. So I hope you try this. Please share this with someone who needs this recipe. You can screenshot that really quickly. Super simple, super affordable. It's so much better because the dandruff shampoos, so if you are someone who uses the dandruff shampoos, they have ingredients that not only are questionable in terms of toxicity, but they just sort of coat the scalp. So they're not allowing your scalp to breathe. So it seems like things are getting better, but it actually isn't. It's like putting like a wax film on top of your scalp. Suppresses that sloughing off, and what would be the long-term, harm of that in the long term, I don't know. All right, so this is something that we definitely want our scalp to breathe, but doing this protocol and using the blow dryer, amazing to be able to do that. All right, so thank you. Okay, do you want to see? Okay, Vicious Trollop said it wasn't there long enough. Can we pull up the recipe really quickly so that you can screenshot that so we can get that? We got a clear shot of that. I hope that you've got it now. Thank you for letting us know, Vicious Trollop. All right, we got it? Thank you, and thank you for sending so many hearts. I see that you're our #1 gifter today, so thank you so much. I appreciate your generosity. All right, if you're new here, I'm Dr. Janine, naturopathic doctor. Great to be here, and this is the live show, the Dr. Janine Show. So this happens every couple of weeks here on a Tuesday, and tomorrow we'll have our Q&A, so please tune in at 1 p.m. tomorrow. It's a little bit different timing. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be our Q&A, so you can ask your questions. I can't always get to all your questions during the live show, so I will do my best to answer all your questions tomorrow. Mabel from Ghana, thank you for tuning in today, as well as Mohammed in Labrador, Canada, Danya in Lebanon, thank you, amazing. Canwell, of course, in Australia, Asian Orchid in Poco, BC, thank you for tuning in today. All right, now I do want to share our viewer spotlight for this week. And I love this. It made me laugh when I read this. Mr. Privacy One. Okay, I don't know if you're here, but give yourself a shout out. If you are here, just put some hearts in or something so that I know if you're here or not. But this is such a great quote. Okay, so Mr. Privacy One is saying, I am a man, and one of the reasons why I subscribe to your channel is that I have some female friends that really need to follow you. So I thought that was funny. What I really appreciate about your videos is that they're informative on many levels, even for a man, and you're talking about radiant skin, and you're actually living what you're promoting. So thank you, Mr. Privacy. Love that quote from you, and thank you for everybody who shares your great feedback on my channels, and of course everything that we put out there as a team in terms of the information that we share. All right, now I do want to talk a little bit about some scary ingredients. I'm going to focus in on this one, silicone dioxide, also known on labels. So this can be found in your vitamins, okay? It can be in your supplements. Silicone dioxide, it could also be labeled E551. Okay, so maybe jot that down, E551. So they don't even tell you what it is. If you've ever seen these little gel packs before, I have one here that sometimes can come in a vitamin bottle. It can also be in shoes, electronics. You know, there's little in luggage. When you first purchase luggage, it's a little silica gel pack, and it helps to keep things dry. And it says right on here, do not eat, all right? Now we've opened up some packs of that. That's what it looks like, the silicone dioxide. E551, don't forget that. And it's an anti-caking agent. So what they do is they powder this down and they put it in supplements. It can also be found in different foods and processed foods. And they use it in things like soups and spices. It can be in baby food even. Instant coffees, coffee drinks, ginseng products, as well as chocolate can have silicone dioxide, and lots of supplements have it, okay? So I really, really want you to be aware of this, because what the research is now showing, so they did a study on guinea pigs, this is a little bit scary, that it can really disrupt your gut microbiome. So remember we talked earlier today about some of those bad organisms in the gut, leaky gut, parasites, candida. Well, this stuff in your supplements, so imagine you're taking supplements so that you're feeling better and you want to be healthier, or even gut healing supplements have the silicone dioxide. Crazy, right? And what they found in this study on the guinea pigs is that it affected their intestinal inflammation, demonstrating food intolerance. So what they're finding is that maybe it's damaging the actual gut wall and can be leading to some leaky gut and even celiac disease. So food exposure to silicone dioxide, so it can be in your foods as well, increases the risk of developing celiac disease, which is a chronic gluten intolerance in genetically predisposed individuals, as well as aggravating the inflammatory signs characteristic of this chronic disease. So yeah, beware. If you are celiac, you have gluten sensitivity, please make sure you're avoiding any silicone dioxide, and it could be found in various places, but number one place to look is in your supplements. It's in most of the supplements, I'm going to say, that are out there if you're not getting a good high quality whole food supplement that doesn't have fillers or flow agents, all right? So just be aware of that. All right, so we're going to be doing and talking about some anti-aging tips potentially if we get there, but also I'm going to share some tips for hypertension. So I do get a lot of questions about blood pressure, and these tips, I'm sure a lot of them you've never heard before. It's nothing that your doctor probably has talked about in terms of helping with keeping your arteries clean, but also helping to ensure that proper circulation and lowering that blood pressure, okay? So let's go over here. Tip number one, maybe your doctor didn't tell you this. Get out in the sun. Yes, so what this does is natural sunlight exposure, and this has been studied. It's not just me saying it. If you're new to my content, I talk a lot about sunlight exposure, why that's so important for our overall health, and doing it in a safe way, of course. But this study showed that recent research indicates that UV light, so the one that they tell us is so damaging to our skin and is going to cause a bunch of problems for us and age us, but that UV light enhances nitric oxide availability by mobilizing storage forms in the skin, suggesting incident solar UV radiation may lower blood pressure. All right, that's huge. So what nitric oxide does, so you get sunlight exposure. Notice how your skin can get a little bit pink, and that is now dilating, so bringing some of that blood to the surface of your skin. That sunlight is dilating those blood vessels. Dilated blood vessels means better blood flow, and that can lower your blood pressure for hypertension, all right? So that's important. So sunlight exposure. Number two, making sure that you're optimizing your magnesium levels becomes really important. And again, my favorite type here is a magnesium bisglycinate. So bound to that glycine, helps as a muscle relaxant. Really important. A lot of people have a magnesium deficiency. They don't necessarily know it. So getting enough magnesium, super important if you have high blood pressure. Magnesium bisglycinate. And I like magnesium, magnesium in the morning. Remember that. Okay, number three, helps definitely herbal medicines for getting that venous blood flow going. So we've got to get that blood flowing through the system. Some of my favorites are horse chestnut, butcher's broom, gotu kola, and citrus bioflavonoids. So these herbal medicines, fantastic for that blood flow. A little bit about what we talked about last week with venous circulation and varicose veins, spider veins. Those are the herbal medicines that I love. Okay, number four, reduce stress. We know that there's definitely a correlation with having higher stress levels, of course, and developing hypertension, high blood pressure. So whatever that means for you, some of my tips are number 5 is to follow Mother Nature's prescription. So what does that mean? That means more sunlight exposure, getting grounded. So taking off your socks and shoes, or at the very least wearing shoes that have a leather sole on the bottom so that you can still pull up some of the Earth's electrons. This becomes really important. Now, in one study, they actually looked at grounding for patients with hypertension, and it was found that grounding patients with hypertension improves blood pressure by an average decrease of 14.3% just by taking off your socks and shoes and standing on the earth, lowering that blood pressure. So again, some of the things that you probably have never heard from your doctor before, this is what I talk about at the Dr. Janine Show. So give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. Thank you for all those hearts coming in as well. Great to have you here. Please make sure that you are subscribed, that you are following if you are new here. Let's move on. Okay, we've got quiz question number 2. This one's tricky. I gave you a hint, but it's a tricky question. We'll see how we do. Okay, we're playing for the turmeric from our great friends at VitaTrue Nutritionals, of course, the sponsor of our show. We thank them so much. Whole food vitamins. All right, are we ready? Here we go. What is the code name for silicone dioxide? Remember, we talked about this. Silicone dioxide. Let's see who was paying attention. You've got 30 seconds. Good luck, everyone. Have about 10 seconds left. Let's see if anybody got it. I don't know. Did anybody get it? My team? Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. I'm actually impressed. Yes, this is very good. Wow, everybody has great memory or good students that jotted it down. E551. Let's see. A lot of you got it. So congratulations. Whoever said, put that in the comments. Good job. And that's probably one of the trickier questions that I've asked over the last year or so. So good job to all of you. Make sure you're looking for that on labels because it's not necessarily going to say silicone dioxide. It may actually say E551, and now you know what it is, and now you know to avoid it. All right, now let's talk a little bit about acid reflux. And for people who have acid reflux, this can be a thing that's sort of transient, it comes and goes, but for a lot of people, it's very annoying. Maybe you're medicated for it, and that acid coming, of course, up from the stomach, up the esophagus, and causing that heartburn, that acid reflux GERD. All right, let's go through my natural tips. How do we deal with this from a circadian perspective? So how do we sort of tie back into, and that's what my new book is all about, which we will finally have, I can say confidently, in the next few short days. This we will have in physical form available, so I'm super excited about that. But yeah, it's all about circadian rhythms and optimizing your connection with nature, all right? But from a circadian perspective, this has a lot to do with what's going on with our digestion and our stomach acid as well, and our ability to actually digest our food. So tip number 1 for acid reflux is to eat between sunrise and something called UVA rise. So when the UV levels come up, with the sun, as we know, the sun changes throughout the day from sunrise to sunset. It goes through that entire cycle. Eating in this window of opportunity time is really good for digestion. Part of this stems back to traditional Chinese medicine and how to optimize digestion in our different organ system times. They all have a different time depending on, circadian rhythms as well as, of course, what's happening in our environment in nature. Okay, so eating between sunrise and UVA. If you don't know when UVA rise is, you can check. There's different circadian apps out there, so you can sort of click on that and it will tell you where you're living in terms of you have to allow your notifications. It will tell you based on that where and at what time that UVA rise happens, okay? So that's important. So try to eat your breakfast in that earlier time window. Okay, number 2, try not to eat after sunset because again, digestion is meant to shut down as we're sleeping because other hormones, become very important as we're sleeping. So try not to eat after sunset, after dark. You do not want to be putting more food or drink that's gonna raise blood glucose levels. You don't wanna do that before bed. Okay, number 3, try to eat 2 to 3 meals per day. And number 4 on the list is no snacking, all right? There's something called the migrating motor complex, and that needs certain windows of time in between our meals to work properly to move our food through the digestive tract. If we don't give our body that amount of time, then things start to back up, and then we can develop a lot of issues with even the health of our microbiome. So allow for time. You should be able to get hungry before your next meal, and no snacking between meals. Okay, number 5 is mineral-rich food. So eating more seafood can be really advantageous, especially from a circadian perspective, for that acid reflux. Magnesium is a big one that we usually need to get enough of to help to quell that acid. I'm going to be doing a great demonstration with a magnesium supplement and how you can use that. That's coming up in just a second, but that's really, really important. So magnesium, calcium, zinc, all of these important minerals you're going to get from seafood and other mineral-rich foods. I find that seafood tends to be the highest source for our minerals though. Okay, number 6 is to limit your EMF exposure. So all of these artificial lights that we have, that blue light toxicity and EMFs that we've got, so electromagnetic fields that are not natural. So from our devices, our cell phones, our Wi-Fi routers, all these places that we're getting all of these EMFs, that will disrupt that magnesium-calcium balance, and that can really upset your microbiome. And this is going to cause problems in terms of that healthy relaxation of the sphincters and keeping your stomach acid down in the stomach. So really doing your best to limit your EMFs. I've got a ton of videos. I have a bunch of tips in my new book as well, how to, mitigate your risks against those EMFs. So that's something you can learn a lot more about. That's super, super important. Not talked enough about, I believe, in circles of, alternative medicine, as well as, of course, mainstream medicine. And number 7, again, follow Mother Nature's prescription. It's actually the subtitle of my new book, Rediscovering Mother Nature's Prescription. That's your sunlight. That's your grounding. Really important to bring up the Earth's electrons to help. And here we can see that was a section that we saw a little, inside scoop on the book, but so, so important to do what we're meant to do, being in tune and living with nature. And that helps to restore the balance in, of course, our organ systems and all the way that all of our cells work, to be in tune with the sun. And that grounding is really important. It's very anti-inflammatory to get grounded, and that tells the right signals even to your digestive tract, to your stomach, and to your esophagus that it's the time for food or it's not the time for food. It's all programmed. All these clock mechanisms that we have in our body are programmed with the light and dark cycle of the day. So getting that reconnection, following Mother Nature's prescription, which you'll learn in my new book, that's what it's all about. All right, I do want to show you my demonstration really quickly. Let's go into the kitchen, and I'm going to show you, how, the greatest and quickest hack for that acid reflux, which is so amazing. So what you're going to see here is, of course, the magnesium bisglycinate, okay? And the great thing about this is that this format of magnesium is very well absorbed. When I open that up into some water, you can see how it disappears. I don't even need to stir it, but it will completely dissipate and disappears. And it's tasteless, and this is a great way to sort of start the day. So if you do suffer with acid reflux, just a couple of capsules of your magnesium bisglycinate in this format, in some water, and you can sip on this. That will help to quell the acid, but it also helps to relax those sphincters. To when they're relaxed, they close, so that it's not going to allow for that stomach to go up the esophagus. Game changer. Even if I have a lot of people that I've been able to help with this who were even medicated for their acid reflux. They were able to get off their medication just by doing this little hack, this trick, okay? So I hope you are gonna try that. It's so, so important. Thank you for sharing. So friend, thank you for sharing today's live. It is so great to have you here today. And hey, if everybody could hit that share button, I would totally appreciate it. It's awesome to be here today on a beautiful day. And it's so great to have so many new people here today as well. So thank you so much. And okay, so user 796 is saying it can make you sleepy. So if you take the right type of magnesium, it should not induce sleep. So this is a big misconception. Other types of magnesium, so not a magnesium bisglycinate, yes, it relaxes the nervous system, but it should not make you sleepy. It actually gives you energy, helps with your metabolism, of your carbs, your fats, and your proteins. So taking the right magnesium at the right time can be really, really helpful, which I love, and that's why I love the magnesium bisglycinate. Yes, and CG Stein, do you drink them? I prefer magnesium in the morning, magnesium in the morning, all right? So thank you to everybody tuning in today. It's great to have you here. I think my team behind the scenes is going to answer some of the questions that are coming in. All right, so I do want to say thank you to my super fans. I know so many of you have been so generous throughout my live shows, of course, and on my content as well. So thank you to you all. Thank you to everybody who supports my channel, and you come back, you know, time and time again to watch the live show. I love that, and you tell your friends about it, which is so amazing as well. So thank you to everybody who's here. All right, now I do want to share some tips really quickly for sciatica. So this is where, you know, again, last time I was here, a lot of people had questions about sciatica. So what can we do? What are some things? And I'm going to show you a little demonstration of a little exercise that you can do by sitting in a chair. That's coming up. But let's see, how do we optimize, you know, our nerve function? Well, with tip number one, and this goes for not just sciatica, this is if you have any type of nerve issue, neuralgias, neuropathies, any type of nerve problem. Number one, you have to improve your B12 levels, okay? So this becomes really important. Now, the scary thing, we talked earlier about silicone dioxide, something to avoid in your supplements. Now, the scary thing about most B12, so another thing to look out for, if you're taking a multivitamin, you're taking a B complex, you're taking a B12 supplement, a thing to look out for is the type of B12 that you're supplementing with, all right? So B12, yes, you need to get natural sunlight exposure to optimize your B12 levels, not just vitamin D, B12 as well. We need to get that sunlight exposure. But if you're supplementing with a B12, you do not want to take cyanocobalamin, okay? That has cyanide in it. There's better B12s to take. I like a B12 adenosylcobalamin in a whole food complex to ensure that it's properly absorbed. So the type of B12 that you're taking makes all the difference, all right? So optimizing your B12 levels becomes really important because it helps to increase the myelin. Now, myelin is on the outer coating of your nerve fibers. We need to maintain that myelin. It's like the protection on a wire. We need to maintain that myelin coating. Your B12 will help to do that. Okay, number two is to make sure you have proper mobility in your feet. So wearing barefoot shoes becomes very, very important, okay? Walking barefoot is the ultimate. So making sure you have proper mobility because everything starts in the feet, all right? And then it can translate in your entire nervous system with your fascia and your fascia getting stuck. That can translate into that sciatica, low back issues, and a lot of tension. So you want to make sure that you have proper foot mobility. I would say also your ankles, your knees, your hips. So again, it all starts in the feet. So working on that becomes very important. Barefoot is always the way to go. Okay, number three is to do some nerve flossing. Okay, so what is this? So I'm going to show you a demo in the chair in just a moment. So that is coming up. And number four is to stretch your piriformis muscle. Now, often there's an impingement thing happening, so things are getting trapped with your sciatica. So by sitting and doing the figure four, you could do this lying down as well. I don't know if did we have a video for this? Maybe we didn't find it. Okay, so all you're doing basically is you're crossing your leg over your other leg, and you are stretching the piriformis muscle, all right? So that is, it's like the figure four stretch. If you've done that before, that becomes very important. Okay, and number five is to do a glute bridge exercise. So the glute bridge is something that by strengthening your gluteal muscles, this can really help to relieve some of that pressure on the sciatic nerve. So does everybody know what a glute bridge is? Yes? Okay. We do, we don't. Does everybody know what glute bridges are? All right, so you're lying on your back and you basically pump up your hips, all right? So you have to squeeze your glutes to allow for your glutes to come off of the ground. Does that make sense? So you're lying on your back, your feet are bent, and you're lifting up with your butt muscles, all right? So glute bridges, very important. You can look that up. Anybody can look that up. Super important for sciatica. And number 6 is turmeric with curcumin. So this is interesting. So they did a study again, on rats, the poor rats. And in the study, what they found was that they actually injured the sciatic nerve in these poor rats. And they found that the curcumin, so the active anti-inflammatory component of the turmeric, accelerated the repair of the sciatic nerve injury in rats through reducing Schwann cells apoptosis and promoting the myelinization. So what it did was it actually helped with that myelin coating, much like your vitamin B12, your omega-3s, so the DHA helps to do that as well. So promoting that myelination on the specific sciatic nerve, which is really interesting. So that's why, another good reason, if you do have sciatic issues, is to find a good high quality turmeric, but you need the added curcumin in there to have that type of effect. All right, does that make sense? All right, so let's do this little demo really quickly. So you're gonna find a chair. And on your affected side, so imagine my right side had an issue with my sciatic nerve, which can be very painful. You get the pain down the back. You're gonna sit up and then extend the bad side, and you're gonna flex your head back. And this is called nerve flossing. So as my foot goes down and my head goes back and foot at the same time. And just by flossing that nerve, you can do 10 repetitions. You can do the good side as well, but continuing that flossing motion actually helps to relieve some of that tension and actually takes the pressure off the positioning of the sciatic nerve and gives you some relief from that sciatic pain. And of course, do the glute bridges, do your seated figure 4, lying down figure 4, which is amazing, of course, for your sciatic nerve. I hope nobody has sciatic issues. Please say hello. Hey, and if you're here for the first time, please put a 1 in the comments. I'm so happy to see some new people and new followers. So S-A, thank you so much for the follow. And Nikki Snicks, thank you so much for tuning in today. It's so amazing. Okay, Dawn, you do them every week, the glute bridges? I hope so. Okay, awesome. Yes, we need to, Life by Cynthia, I know, the poor rats, I know, in these studies that they do on rats, but better than humans, I guess. Should I say that? I don't know. It's not good to do any type of animal testing, but that's in the name of science. Shirlane, hello in Dubai. Nice to have you here. Thank you for tuning in today. Great to have you. Okay, so guess what time it is? It's quiz question number 3 time. Is everybody ready? We're gonna have a true or false question coming up, okay? And this is all about in the name of fun and asking questions based on the show that we just had, of course. We're playing for the turmeric from our great friends at Vitatree Nutritionals, the sponsor of our show. And is everybody ready? Now, there was a slide that I saw earlier before the last quiz question that I want to pull up the slide. I believe it was on the tips. It was one of the tips lists. We'll go back to it because I think somebody missed it, so we're going to go back to that. All right, so that's coming up in just a second. So hold on, don't go anywhere. All right, here we go. I think it was the hypertension tips list. Yes, we'll pull that up in just a second. After our quiz question number 3, is everybody ready? Okay, this is true or false. Safe sun exposure is good for your skin. Let's see who has paid attention to my content. We talked a little bit about it today, but who's paid attention to my content over time? Let's see. Thanks for tuning in today. Great to have some new people here, so thank you for sharing. And yeah, we've got, about 10 seconds left. How are we doing? Good job. I see lots of good answers here. Okay, everybody got their answers in? Yes? I'm so happy about this because I don't think I saw any incorrect answers. All right. All right, everybody got their answers in? Yes, okay. So let's reveal really quickly. Of course, it's true. So yes, safe sun exposure, so doing it the right way and the safe way is really good for your skin. This is one of the reasons why red light therapy is so effective for building your collagen and for that youthful appearance is the fact that the red light plus the other wavelengths in the light, like the greens and the other tones of the light, is very healing to the skin. So congratulations to everybody who said yes, true, you are correct. All right, it is amazing. Dennis, thank you so much for the great compliments. Let's pull up really quickly the tips that we had. I know somebody wanted to screenshot this really quickly. The 5 tips for hypertension. If you want to screenshot that really quickly, and there you go. Everybody's got it? Okay, there you have it. All right, so if you're just tuning in right now, today we talked a little bit about dandruff. I shared a natural recipe for that. We also talked about hypertension, acid reflux. I talked about some parasite cleansing as well, getting rid of those bad microorganisms in the gut. I showed you some exercises for sciatica, which can be really, really helpful, and my tips how to actually take care of your nerves. And remember that B12, so make sure you're not taking the cyanocobalamin. I'll go into a bit more detail on that tomorrow during the Q&A, and I'll write it out for you, what you're looking for to avoid that cyanocobalamin. Remember, we talked about E551. What is that? Silicone dioxide. Make sure it's not in your supplements and not in some of the processed foods that you may be eating as well. Like pancake mix, for instance, might have silicone dioxide. All right, so just be aware if and even the more natural organic ones could have some of these compromising ingredients. That E551 is what you're looking for, silicone dioxide. All right, so please tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will answer your questions. That is our Q&A. 1 p.m. tomorrow, hashtag Ask Dr. Janine. Think of your questions now, maybe jot them down, and I will do my best to answer all your questions tomorrow. All right, it was great to have you here today. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. I'll see you then. Bye.